Hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, fuck it, I'm pissed. Fuck it.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name.
For real, you guys, Merry Christmas to you all. JLZ followers out there, wish your family and have a great holiday season. If you guys don't celebrate Christmas, so then have a good December nevertheless. And my voice is dead after you trying to yell so loud the Vikings would hear me all the way out in Minnesota. But let's see what we can do here. So as 2016 comes to the end, looks like just the same thing with the Vikings season. But looking at the team stats here, looks like the game should have been a lot closer. But nevertheless, the Vikings lost 38-25 in Green Bay. But team stats wise, let's look at this. The Vikings had 22 first downs. The Packers had 19. And we had 18 through the air. The Packers only had 18. We had 4 rushing first downs, and the Packers only had 1. So we win every category right there. Total yards, we had 446 yards to the Packers only had 348. Now, a good 60 of those yards or so came in garbage time. But nevertheless, we still outplayed, on the stat sheet wise, the Packers offensively. Who would have thought that we could do that and lose, right? Now, the difference here is we got our yards in 74 plays. The Packers got their yards in only 58 offensive plays. We had 14 total drives. They only had 12. But we both had 6 yards per play. We had 353 yards through the air, and the Packers had 308. We were 34 for 50 passing for 6.5 yards per pass. And the Packers were 28 for 39 for 7.2 yards per pass. And we got sacked 4 times for 29 yards. I'm pretty sure all those were off TJ Clemmings. He was off for this game. Easily the donkey of the game. He was completely trash. But we did sack Aaron Rodgers 4 times for 39 yards. Danielle Hunter, Eric Kendricks looked really good on defense, or only really good members of our defense today. Running the ball, we had, I didn't even know about this, we had 93 rushing yards, and the Packers only had 40. We had 20 attempts for this has got to be a season high 4.7 yard average to the Packers 2.7 yards. I'm going to see if this is mixed up because this is really confusing me. But this is what the ESPN stat sheet says, and it's hard to believe, but yeah, this is the source. Penalties, this was a big difference where the Packers won. We had 8 penalties for 70 yards, and the Packers had 3 penalties for only 21 yards. 70 yards on penalties, inexcusable. And 2 turnovers, 2 big-time turnovers. One was just, it's pretty much summed up the Viking season all year. Nick Easton at center either didn't know Bradford was in the shotgun or just didn't get the ball, but he just snapped it and the ball dropped right there. Packer dove on it, they got the ball. And then Bradford got strip sacked off a TJ Clemmings whiff on a block. There was another one in the end zone right at the end of half, and the Packers ended up scoring. And that was probably the biggest play of the whole game. Yeah, but we had the total possession, 31 minutes, they only 28 minutes, but again, garbage time, we took a lot of the time on the garbage time. So looking at Sam Bradford here, statistically, his best game of the year, week 2 he was really good too, but this week, 34 for 50, 382 yards, 7.6 hours, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 110.6 passer rating. Looked really good. Running the ball, here where our actual yards came in. Jarek McKinney, 11 carries for 50 yards, 4.5 average. If he could have been doing that all year long, we would probably get 3 or 4 more wins. Matt Asiata did even better, 6 carries for 34 yards, 5.7 yard average and 9 yard long. Bradford even ran a little bit, 2 for 5 yards. And Adam Thielen with a little jet sweep got 4 yards on it. Now, kind of disappointing, CJ Ham got activated from the practice squad today and didn't get a single carry, which was a little bit disappointing to see if we had maybe a future running back to plug in there in the future. Because a lot of Viking fans are leaning on the side that no more Adrian Peterson after this year. He costs too much. And Running backs just don't win games in the NFL this day and age. For the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 26 for 38, 347 yards, 9.1 average, 4 touchdowns for 136.6 rating through the air. Receiving game ball easily, Adam Thielen, 12 receptions, 202 yards, a 16.8 average, 2 touchdowns, 71 long, 15 targets. 12 receptions and 15 targets. He hauled in. Bradford had a 75% throwing rate accuracy when throwing to Adam Thielen. And when he would get the completion, he'd get a first down. That's a guy you want to throw to all the time. He was fantastic today. But outplayed by the Packers' big-time target, Jordy Nelson. 9 receptions, 154 yards, 17.1 average, 2 touchdowns, 48 long, and 11 targets, 9 for 11. Both played very well. Yards-wise, Adam Thielen won, and I think he'd be talked about as maybe the next big guy. I mean, we have Stephon Diggs, who I think's been hurt recently, but he's kind of a small guy, and you don't really expect him to be healthy all 16 games, which is going to be his big problem as the season goes on. Going to the Packers rushing totals, Ty Montgomery at 9 carries for only 23 yards for a 2.6 average. We definitely held him in check. But the guy we did not hold in check all day in the passing game also burned us in the running game. Aaron Rodgers had 2 carries, but they went for 13 yards, a 6.5 average, including juking Xavier Rhodes out of his shoes, snapping some ankles along the way for a touchdown. By other receivers for the Vikings, Kyle Rudolph, 6 for 53 yards. Jeff McKinnon, tons of checkdowns, 5 for 35 yards. Matt Asiata, more checkdown, 3 for 30 yards. Stephon Diggs, 4 receptions for only 29 yards. Charles Johnson, 1 for 16. And they somehow keep throwing the ball to Cordell Patterson, 2 for 13. David Morgan, guys, 1 reception for 4 yards. And Rhett Ellison was thrown to once and did not haul it in. And the Packers, Denormio Ellison, 4 receptions for 66 yards. Devontae Adams, 4 receptions for 44 yards and a touchdown. Jared Cook, 3 receptions for 37 yards. Richard Rodgers, 2 for 20. Ty Montgomery, 4 for 17. Jeff Janis, 1 for 8. And Christian Michael, 1 for 1 yard. So, there are our totals there. On the defensive side of the ball, Eric Kendricks, I think, was one of 2 players that showed up. Eric Kendricks, 11 total tackles, 7 were solo, 2.5 sacks on the day, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterbacks hits. Eric Kendricks was the MVP of our defense today. If I'd give a defensive game ball, it would be him. But if there was a sub MVP for our defense today, it would be Danielle Hunter, who is, of course, a sub defensive end. 6 total tackles, 5 for solo, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 quarterbacks hits in a reduced role. Danielle Hunter quickly turning into a top 5 member of our defense. Xavier Rhodes looked a little bit disappointing today. He had 7 tackles, which is never really good when your cornerback's second in your team in tackles. Anthony Barr was up there in tackles, 6 total tackles. Ian Harrison Smith got 4. Trey Williams got 4, then a lot of our secondary members because they were completing a lot of passes. Probably the donkey of the game was Everson Griffin. 1 tackle on the day. It was solo and 1 quarterback hit. He was getting stagnated at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if that's the right word for it. He was not moving anybody around. They were blocking him with ease. Really hard to see Everson Griffin taking playing time away from Danielle Hunter. The same could be said for Brian Robinson, who is technically playing in a spot, but Brian Robinson had the same numbers, 1 tackle, 1 was solo, but Everson Griffin's the guy that's making all the money. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes down the road. For the Packers, Joe Thomas, 10 tackles, 9 were solo, Morgan Burnett, 8 tackles, Clinton Dix had 8, Jake Ryan had 6, and all the way down the line, the MVP for the Packers defense was Clay Matthews. Only 3 tackles, but he had 2 pass defense, 3 quarterbacks hits. I guess he doesn't get a sack for the strip sack. Mike Daniels got a sack. Clay Matthews did get a sack. Nick Perry got 2 sacks on the day. for all the sacks for the Minnesota Vikings defense. Where do the Vikings go from here? Well, they got home. They play one more game next week, and then the season's all over. The playoffs are no chance anymore. Adrian Peterson, I'll bet right now he's not going to play. He said when he was about to come back that if the Vikings are in the race, he'll play, but now he just won't. And we've seen the last half of Adrian Peterson. I'll take that prediction right now. Adrian Peterson, no more. But if you guys made it this far, hashtag scroll down in the comment section down below. Sorry for my voice being a little bit raspy. I was screaming as loud as I could. The Vikings were pissing me off. I was really trying to get into the game. But nevertheless, we'll see you guys next time. And we'll see you guys for the next Vikings preview. See ya.